Good, happy Friday evening, January 10, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to for this Friday evening, so let's begin. First up, suspect taken into custody after helicopter search in Alstead area, police say. Man fled traffic stop, officials say. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
The Army has been an awesome experience, but after Roman was born, I started transitioning out to spend more time with the family. I found this job as an operations manager on LinkedIn. I applied, and I ended up getting the job.
Now, a New Hampshire State Police helicopter and other law enforcement are searching for a man in Alstead. Police say the man was last seen wearing blue jeans, a gray sweatshirt, and a light green hat. He ran into the woods after a motor vehicle stopped this morning. Police say there is no danger to the public, but they want people to remain alert.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And we can tell you that that subject has been arrested and taken into custody. Man asks judge to move him out of prison to state hospital. Anthony Heath says he shouldn't be held at prison secure psychiatric unit. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
$12, $13, $14, $15, $16.
Aaron Anthony Heath was ordered to be involuntarily committed for up to 5 years back in 2016. He was originally being treated at the New Hampshire State Hospital before he was ordered transferred to the secure psychiatric unit at the state prison. Now he is arguing he has the right to be treated back at the hospital. Anthony Heath entered the courtroom now nearly 4 years into his commitment for the hearing before the judge that could decide where Heath is treated. Through his attorneys, Heath is saying that the state regulations mandate that he is treated at the least restrictive facility possible. Now, there was one witness at today's hearing, Deborah Robinson, who is the administrator of the secure psychiatric unit at the prison. She testified they had requested that Heath be transferred back to the hospital twice, only to have those requests rejected. Now, watching the proceedings was Heath's mother, who says they are treating their son like a criminal, even though he's never been convicted of anything.
The whole process, the whole situation has been tough, but it's really tough that I don't get to see my son, and he won't allow me to go to the prison and see him.
Now, the hospital and the secure psychiatric unit have a joint meeting scheduled for February 5th concerning Heath's status. It's possible that could resolve the situation, but Heath's attorney considers that extremely unlikely. The judge gave both sides until the end of the month to file their briefs. Reporting live in Concord, Ray Brewer, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Police investigate crash involving milk truck and New Hampshire DOT truck in Nashua. No injuries were reported in this accident. Take a look at the photo from the scene. This is the photo from the scene. New Hampshire State Police are investigating A crash Friday morning in Nashua involving a milk truck and New Hampshire Department of Transportation truck. Officials responded to the crash near exit 4 on the southbound side of the Everett Turnpike. No injuries were reported. Protester erupts beginning of Elizabeth Warren's town hall in Dover. 2020 contender back in New Hampshire for campaign stops. Let's take a look at this video from WMUR News 9.
This economy is not working for most of us. There is not one county in the United States of America where someone working full-time at the minimum wage can afford a two-bedroom apartment. The biggest problem in our economy is simple. People are not getting paid enough.
It's so good to be here with you. This is...
grandfather was a real one, too. Your side was ISIS. Your side was Iran. Why you side with terrorists for? Why you side with terrorists for? My grandfather died of real one, too. You're a fraud. Disgusting. Green New Deal. This liar.
This is a man who's deeply upset. It's all right. It's time for you to leave. It's time for you to leave.
I help rape victims, and you're lying.
It's good to see you.
It's good to see you. Hope you resign.
Let him go. It's all right. It's all right. It's time to go.
Disruptive. She likes Iran. Get out! Get out now! He thought he was doing great. Blows out.
Well, good to be here in Dover.
Okay, as you can see in that video, a protester interrupted the beginning of Elizabeth Warren's town hall in Dover, New Hampshire. A protester interrupted the beginning of Democratic presidential candidate Elizabeth Warren's town hall event Friday afternoon in Dover. What are you siding with terrorists for? The man yelled. And the man also said, "You're a fraud." After the interruption, the man was escorted out. Later, Warren answered questions about healthcare and the economy. 2020 is our time, Warren told voters. Warren planned another town hall event later Friday in Milford. This story will be updated. Colin Vulture releases plan to provide equal protections, jobs, education for people with disabilities. Senator's plan praised by disability rights activist Laura McCraw. Deval Patrick making stops Friday in Nashua and Dover and Newmarket. Former Massachusetts governor plans 2 other stops Friday. Democratic presidential candidate Deval Patrick spoke at a forum in Nashua in one of his 3 planned campaign stops Friday in New Hampshire. The former Massachusetts governor delivered remarks at the forum on New Hampshire's community college system in Nashua. Patrick also planned stops Friday afternoon and evening at an open democracy forum in Dover with a conversation with Democrats in Newmarket. Democratic Marianne Williamson ends her campaign for president. Author and literature announces decision in email to supporters after laying off staff a week ago. And now let's take a look at your U.S. stock market and see how your U.S. stock market closed for this Friday evening. And here's a look at that U.S. stock market for all of you for this Friday evening. Your Dow Jones Industrial Average closed in the red and went down. Your Nasdaq closed in the red and went down. S&P 500 closed in the red and went down. Gold closed in the green and went up. Oil closed in the red and went down. U.S. 10-year closed in the red and went down. Euro/USD closed in the green and went up. And VIX closed in the green and went up. Dow falls aimed lackluster jobs data after briefly topping 29,000 for the first time. Stocks fell on Friday, reserving from all-time highs as investors designated weaker than expected jobs data to end a volatile week full of geopolitical concerns. Boeing releases disturbing internal communication between employees. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
To those explosive, newly released messages from Boeing about the now grounded 737 MAX jets. In internal documents, employees mocked the FAA and even appear to conceal problems from regulators before those two crashes that killed nearly 350 people. Whit Johnson has the details.
A trove of documents released overnight paint an embarrassing picture for Boeing and its handling of the 737 MAX. Hundreds of emails and instant messages show employees mocking the FAA, the company, and problems with the airplane. In one exchange, a Boeing employee asks, "Would you put your family on a MAX simulator-trained aircraft?" "I wouldn't." Another, apparently joking, says, "I still haven't been forgiven by God for the covering up I did last year." Several others blast the aircraft's designers, one writing, "This airplane is designed by clowns, who in turn are supervised by monkeys."
The question is whether or not it reflects the attitude of a wider group of people at Boeing. That would be very difficult for the company to overcome without doing a lot of housekeeping.
Still others are slamming federal regulators, claiming the FAA were neither thorough nor demanding and failed to write up many issues.
After all, Boeing has nothing to gain and everything to lose by being slapdash in safety. However, if the attitude is we're going to mislead the FAA, then that's something that has to be addressed.
The fastest-selling jetliner ever for Boeing, the MAX, was grounded following two deadly crashes, killing nearly 350 people.
Boeing released a statement apologizing, saying in part, "These communications do not reflect the company we are and need to be, and they are completely unacceptable." The FAA called the tone and content disappointing, but said there's nothing in these documents that points to any new safety risks. In other words, something they didn't already know about.
But these emails just blow you away.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been in so much trouble.
Well, hey there.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Friday evening, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Good night and bye, everyone.